Now, you see, the way God builds people, is that when God calls you, listen carefully, based on the calling and the election of grace that is upon your life, God will tilt you towards a spiritual dimension to know him in a certain way, that at the point you are learning him that way, you will not know that it is incomplete. And he left it intentionally, so that at the end of your training, you will know him so much and his ways in a dimension, but he does not intend for you to run with it in isolation. There is someone else who has another dimension that is not captured in your experience, but is needed for the overall growth of the body. Now, the challenge is, because of my excelling in the dimension that was committed to me, you will assume I know everything. And my pride will not allow me humble myself and admit that there are other dimensions needed in the body that were not captured in my training. So I now begin to mentor people to reflect my limitation, and I do that by teaching them that any dimension that is not captured in my spiritual experience is not needed for them. So chances are excellent that if God has raised me to be, say, an administrator and to be a leader over people, you will be surprised that the scope of my training will capture in a rich dimension the spirit of wisdom, but I may not encounter the spirit of prayer and supplication. It does not mean I will not pray. That dimension will not be well hosted in my experience. So if through leadership I now begin to build formidable systems, I can now see a man of God who is given to prayer and say, look at these people, instead of them, because I'm seeing the deficiency of what leadership should do in its structure, rather than knowing that this dimension should complement. So you can look across the body of Christ and you can discern with surgical precision the dimensions that have been ignored in churches, in lives. You can know that the prayer ministry was embraced, but wisdom was ignored. You can know that wisdom was ignored. Wisdom was not ignored. They are wealthy, they are blessed, but their spirit man is weak. You can look and know that these people have ignored the prophetic to their detriment, embracing the whole counsel of God. When Jesus took the bread, remember at the Last Supper, he took the bread which he said he was himself. He broke himself into different dimensions. Nobody in that dinner table carried all the bread. Everybody carried a piece of the bread. So if you carry a piece and you believe you have all, he was the one who broke himself. So it's not error. He broke himself deliberately, so that if all of him must come back, everybody must come with the piece that he was given. Is someone learning? So I can carry my piece of bread and teach it accurately. That is good. But now the marking script will not be how well I taught. It will be how well I taught and how well I aligned my piece of bread with respect to the rest. If I now ignore a ministry that reflects a dimension that was not captured in my experience, let me tell you what will happen. The multiplier effect will happen, especially in those you are raising and leading and mentoring. So you find out that there are people who are mighty prayer warriors, fasting giants, but they are poor, they are broke, there is no influence. Their lives, their children are hooligans because they cannot, the things that pertain unto life and godliness they do not have. Then you have those who are rich and influential, carnally minded, and church is just a jamboree of flesh. Absolutely nothing spiritual there.